Welcome everybody to this 7th installment of my little series, TLO Party, with yours truly, Don Horatio. In the 7th game, I'll be bringing you a ZvZ between TLO and probably the most famous Taiwanese player of StarCraft 2, GamaBears Sen. So without further ado, let's get right into this action. In the bottom left, spawning in blue, playing Zerg for Team Liquid, it is TLO, Dario Wunsch. And in the top right, spawning as the red Zerg, it is Sen, the player representing GamaBears, the Taiwanese team. We haven't seen Sen play that much on really any scene, frankly, except for his kind of a biff in GSL. Recently, he was granted a foreigner seed, but did not perform up to expectations, and fell pretty much right out of the GSL about as quickly as you could. But a lot of his focus has been in the Taiwanese scene recently. GamaBears is a Taiwanese team. They have their own league over there, and it's also on television, much like in Korea. So all of his focus right now is on that Taiwanese team, but here he is playing our hero TLO. So I'm very interested to see what Sen brings to the table, since we don't really see him that often. Neither player going with any sort of early pool shenanigans, just getting those drones up. Up to 12 drones right now, both players. Getting those scouting overlords across the map, starting to work their way across the field. Neither player has yet sent out a scouting drone. So it looks like they'll both be going with something they think can hold off any build, really. Because if you do not scout, you have faith in your build to deal with pretty much anything. So I expect well-rounded builds from both these guys. We do now have a drone coming down for Sen and also for TLO in a second, I would imagine, to put down that 15 hatchery. The one for Sen is now going to... Well, I guess that drone just came out a little bit early, but he will plant that down very soon. And Sen's was early. TLO's drone was a touch late. So he's going down to deal with that hatchery and put it down. And we'll likely see pools up falling pretty soon here. Depends. They both might try to sneak a drone or two in before putting that pool down. Sen actually up to 16 drones with no pool still, but he's banking up that money right now. So we'll have that down in a second. TLO's pool does come down a touch earlier. So about a 10-second lead on that spawning pool, but that's not particularly consequential if you both go hatch first. So we will look to see a setup for either a macro game or perhaps a big early mass zergling play. So we'll have to see what both players decide to do. Sen going for that gas right off the bat, looking to get an earlier zergling speed and perhaps some banelings as well. Whereas TLO is still not quite yet taken his gas, might go for a queen heavy build. We've seen him do a couple of those in this TLO party. A little drone there for TLO is following another drone. Might want to fix that and get that mining going. That would be a nice thing for him to do, but he's still following that drone. Hopefully TLO realizes that little mistakes like that are actually very, very hard to notice. It's kind of like when you have just like that one extra worker in your gas geyser, because that gas income's still there and it's hard to tell the difference, but there's just a fourth drone there that could be doing something somewhere else. Very hard to pick up on those little mistakes. Still neither player with scouting drones out on the map. We do have overlords getting into advantageous positions, so we see Sen's overlord here trying to spot the location of this third when it comes down, and this overlord from TLO looking to see what he can see at the front of the base. Still no scouting drones at all. Both players starting to saturate those second expansions. Drones and queens on the way with that early advantage he gained by nope, I lied again. Never mind. Or just TLO have another queen out already. Nope, so they both getting queens out about the same time, so that later gas doesn't really benefit TLO that much. TLO just really prefers, I've started to notice this, he likes to put down these two geysers at the same time and forfeit that earlier gas income to really get it kickstarted when he has his mineral income right where he wants it, and then really get that gas going like in a big burst like this with two geysers at once. Sen now adding that second geyser as well. And Sen's going for actually a very early lair here. This is actually very, very early. Let's see what he decides to do with this. If it's going to be for... Actually, does he have any other tech down at all? Let's just check around and see. Nope. So perhaps Mutalisks, would be Muta's. A hint for that, if we're going to see that, would be a lot of spine crawlers at the front, but we're not seeing any of those. And that lair's just about done. I don't really know what his plan is with this. Maybe a Nidus play, because there's really no other tech in place to take advantage of this, but, I mean, I'm not really sure what else he can do. TLO has an Evo chamber, two actually coming down at the front. So he'll be looking to get double upgrades going for those Zerglings. And it is indeed a Spire play for Sen. He's playing this a bit greedily, actually. Where is that Spire? So right down in the main here. TLO not really out looking to scout right now, so it might be a while until he finds that out. But without spine crawls here at the front, Sen is he's a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Weak. That's an easy word to choose. He's going to be a little bit weak to any sort of early aggression, because mutas, they do kill all ground units but that can't shoot air eventually, but that's the problem. It's eventually, and it does take some time to do it. TLO planning down a Roach Warren as well, so if he does not see this muta transition coming, these are very fast mutas, by the way. Sen has wasted no time in getting these mutas. They will hit much earlier than TLO will expect, and there are really no spine crawlers at the front to really dictate the fact that mutas are really on the way, so TLO may not see this for quite some time until they're right on top of him. I would like to note that Sen's overlord positioning is very good. TLO could use a couple more out on the map, I think, but Sen's got really good overlords here. This one's obviously, this Overseer being morphed and conceal pretty much everything. So that's something to basically take into account. Lair done for TLO. Going to be using that to get these upgrades really, really going. Roach speed on the way as well, and he'll likely soon start pumping out a lot of roaches. Does not have any on the map currently, but that is something he'll really want to get into very soon, especially without a third base down at this point in time. But TLO is also going for his own Spire, interestingly enough, to add on to the roaches, which is going to be an interesting little composition. But, well, TLO, he's committing a lot of resources to these mutas right now, and he has a Spire on the way, but the mutas are already done for Sen, and they'll soon start flying across the map to start dealing some damage. There's already 8 on the field for him, I believe. 7 with an 8th just about to finish for Sen. And this could spell some trouble for TLO. There are queens at both of the bases, but this third base could be very easily denied for TLO. And TLO is very far back in supply, actually, back by 15, which is not something you want to do. Right now, he's banking up gas for his own mutas and just now spending it all. Now adding Spore Crawlers to try and defend, but this third base will be easily denied. No way to really defend this right now. Actually, Sensei could pick off these roaches first. Can give TLO some time to get out mutas of his own. He has 10 on the way, so he actually will have a higher muta count than the muta rushing Sen. But Sen's now transitioning to roaches to back this up, probably just trying to scare a lot of spores, which he already has. 4 were built by TLO, and Sen's going to shift over to roaches after this. So a good little transition, trying to force a bunch of units that aren't that useful against the big roach army out onto the field for TLO, and then transitioning over himself. So smart play by Sen, and he might even get this denial. He's actually definitely going to get it. The mutas of TLO are moving across to counter and not try to deal with this at all. We should see a cancel here any second now, and he does get that cancel. And the mutas are forced home for Sen as he sees these mutalisks fly in as well, and he does not have spores built already. There is a queen, it will be immediately targeted, and we will see some drones go down here very likely. So a good little counter by TLO, and he's now catching up in supply a bit and taking out some workers. Mind you that Sen killed no workers with his mutalisks, and this damage is pretty good for TLO, taking out a bunch of workers that aren't being run away at all. And the mutas of Sen do get back, but TLO can just run away from them, and a good little counter there by TLO after losing that third base. The problem is that Sen already has his third base up and running as well. And TLO sticking to the mutas right now. He's still making some more, and with a bunch of Spore Crawlers already down, he might be in a bit of a pickle with that, and mutas won't be that useful. We're going to have a bit of a muta fight right here. TLO is going to try and just take it, and it looks like he will. The muta count is 15 to 5, and TLO has a big air advantage and going to pick off this Spire. Great little pick there if he can get that, and he's going to pick off the mutas again, and there he goes with the Spire, taking it down along with that +1 upgrade. But 11 mutas are coming out for Sen as well, and the mutas do continue to battle. But here come the mutas from Sen moving in. But does TLO in a second, he needs to wait for this battle for a little bit. He's going to have that upgrade in a second, the +1 flying Carapace, but his muta count's already low enough that he really can't take advantage of it right now. And Sen's mutas will force TLO's mutas away. Just chase him across the map, but here come more mutas from TLO as well, and he has that +1 armor upgrade from the mutas, and Sen does not. Big upgrade advantage for TLO, but a lot of his mutas were already wounded there, and I can't really tell what's going on here, but it looks like TLO is getting the better of this engagement and should keep fighting here. And there he does go. He will win the muta battle, and this is great for him. A lot of resources being dumped into mutas for both players, and if you can come out on top of that muta battle, you're in a good spot. But it does end up being only 3-2, so basically it's a wash. But TLO is in an alright situation. His third definitely is behind, so I wouldn't call him ahead. He actually might be a touch behind because of that. Let's look at the drone count, actually. Yeah, 67 for Sen instead of 51 for TLO. TLO finding himself in a bit of a precarious situation with that. Gonna look to catch up. And actually, TLO getting that Nidus Worm. Gonna look to do some Nidus aggression, perhaps into the main base of his opponent. And that could be nifty, but the mutas are pretty good quick responders to something like that. So I'm not sure that the Nidus Worm will be entirely effective against Sen. But right now, Sen's muted count is... He did lose that Spire, so he is down to 2, and he does not have any really fast responding units on the map, actually, now that I think about it. So the Nidus could be a bit of a strong play for TLO. I'm very curious to see how it works, but he really doesn't have any units to put in there other than Queens, which certainly would be an interesting maneuver indeed. And he actually is putting Queens in there, and I would like to see the Roaches as well. Where's the Nidus actually going to drop down? Down here. He's going to attack with Roaches and Queens, or maybe just Queens at this third base. Very curious to see how this turns out. Muta's going to come over and help as well, and this is going to be a very interesting attack, catching Sen when he tries to make this fourth base, which he's also pressuring with a couple of Zerglings to be very, very pesky. The Nidus is done and spitting out units, and these Queens will be very slow getting over. Let's look at the defense here. Infestors should be pretty good against this, but there's not a whole lot to support these Infestors. Only, well, I lied, actually. 5 Roaches. Actually, no, I did not lie. 5 Roaches and 2 Mutas on the field. That's not a whole lot. These Infestors can't win the battle by themselves. There's only like about 5 Fungals in there, and that's about it. Roaches of TLO already splitting to move in. Probably should try and focus fire some Infestors. One good Fungal, but he is picking off Infestors as we speak. And Roaches now fighting as well. And here come the Queens. They're starting to look transfuse those Roaches. And there they do come down. These Roaches will live pretty long with this transfuse help. Queens picking off Infestors. You don't see that every day, especially on the attack. And the Mutas will be a lot more effective now that the Infestor energy is all gone. I'd like to see the Mutas move in, actually, and try to do some damage here. But TLO's reposturing and trying to reinforce and move in for another attack. Let's actually take a look at the army supply. It's in TLO's advantage, but not by a whole lot. But the worker count definitely in Sen's favor by over 20... Yeah, over 20 drone advantage for Sen. So TLO willing to do a lot of damage with this attack to get back into this game. But he might just be able to do it, and this is giving him time to maybe consider taking a fourth of his own if he wants to, or at least try to drone back home. But TLO has no thoughts of that, still making a bunch of Roaches. And the Concave is very good for Sen, and he will move in with this. And the Queen's doing what they can to buffer, but this is just too many Roaches. And TLO calls the good game. Invested a lot in that weird little Nidus attack that was a bit goofy and just did not really work out in the end. Sen had that huge worker advantage, and TLO's initial push did next to nothing to damage that third base. And he does fall to Sen in the ZvZ, and Sen shows that he still has it. He's still a force to be reckoned with in the foreign scene, and I'm sure he actually plays many good games in the Taiwanese leagues, but we just don't see it. And it's good to see Sen really come out and prove that he's still a top flight player in StarCraft 2. So TLO does take his second loss in the TLO Party series. Lost one ZVT to Rain and then the ZvZ to Sen. But still showing very good games, and I look forward to seeing you in Episode 8. Thanks for watching, guys.